In two magical African wilderness areas, the Masai Mara in Kenya and the Greater Kruger National Park of South Africa, 5 expert safari guides follow a cast of compelling animal characters and the never-ending stories that define their lives. Previously on the Cat Report. The migration thunders onto the Mara Plains. Conflict simmered over who will succeed the aging waffles. The Sausage Tree Pride battled for their piece of the Mara Plains. And the royal leopards of Juma surprised us all with their tolerance for one another. Welcome to the 5th edition of the Cat Report, an episode that promises an emotional roller coaster the likes of which only the wilderness is able to provide. It's a very pleasant, if somewhat cloudy morning here in the Western Kruger, and we're sitting in the company of our 2.5-year-old leopard prince Hosana, brother to the Queen Tandi and son of the Duke Tingana, in whose territory he still lives. As with all adolescent mammal males, breakfast for him is front of mind. Now, young fellows like this tend to have a fairly Catholic diet. They'll eat pretty much anything they can catch. I'm not sure what he's spotted here in this eerie riverbed. It can't be very big if we can't see it. In this terrain, his coat is beautifully camouflaged, and the dull light makes for perfect hunting conditions. I just love how they use the topography to hide their movements. He's searching there. Might have picked it up again. Now he can see it. I still can't tell what he's looking at. Look as he carefully places his back feet exactly where his front ones have been. Completely silent. Ah, it's a scrub hare. It's got no idea Hosana's about to pounce. But the leopard's got no cover. I think if the hare looks up now, he'll see him. There. The cat's blown his cover. It's now or never. In this case, it was never, but I don't suppose that matters too much. It's not like scrub hares are in short supply out here. Now, while a cat hunt is mesmerizing, I don't think there's anything in the natural world more stupefying than the smells, sounds, and sheer abundance of the Great Migration.
Tranquil for much of the year, the Mara River transforms into a battleground with the arrival of the migrating herds. Its reptilian keepers bide their time for the first brave soul to lead the rest into the fatal waters. And the masses follow blindly, oblivious to the waiting jaws of death. In their droves, the herds arrive, and there is safety in numbers. Not every attack renders success. Sheer determination drives them on. And grateful hooves touch solid ground on the other side. But inevitability strikes the weak, as is nature's way, for the river's colossal inhabitants must feed too. And one life sacrificed seems to allow free passage to many, while the giant reptiles gorge, their death rolls keeping even would-be defenders at bay. Brutal as the scene may prove, this is a feast that will satiate the river brutes for months to come.
These North Clan cubs have no idea of the exciting times that lie ahead for them. Though Soup, of course, who's lying here suckling her 2 youngsters, will know with absolute certainty what is coming. Last week we saw the hyenas of North Clan risk their lives to try and hunt a young hippo. This week everything has changed and they're spending most of their time next to the Mara River. The arrival of the migration has changed the game for all of the predators of the Mara, and North Clan are no exception. As hundreds of exhausted animals raced out of the river, the hyena were waiting to take advantage of the confusion and fear. Time and again, they looked for an opening or a sign of weakness. Until a few days later, they found what they were looking for. A wounded zebra, its stomach torn open from the jaws of a crocodile, stumbled straight into their midst. The zebra's death was a foregone conclusion, but its fighting spirit kept the hyena at a distance. The brave zebra's strength faded, and the hyena of North Clan stepped in to finish what the Mara River had started, mercifully ending its suffering and securing themselves a massive meal. For now, the cubs of North Clan are occupied with learning all about their place in the hierarchy of the clan. However, things are about to change, and I'm sure they won't even believe their luck when the vast amounts of animals move through across their territory. What we're going to see over the next few weeks will keep us all glued to the edge of our seats as North Clan takes advantage of what the migration has to offer, and of course their prime territory on the edge of the Mara River.
We're with Kipuli, the king of the Sausage Tree Pride, and he is out on patrol. What we are hoping is he's going to help us find the rest of the pride who we have not seen in probably about 4 or 5 days. He's looking quite hungry, which means he might even hunt by himself. There's quite a lot of zebra out on this freshly burnt grass, but I think he's looking for the females. The fire that created the bits of green flash you see where Kipuli is walking was actually started by the reserve management to create safety breaks, but fire is in fact very much a driving force in a grassland system like the Mara. Fire is often considered a destructive force, but in the open savannas of Africa, it is as important to new life as rain. You'd be forgiven for confusing the blackened landscape with a post-apocalyptic world, with Undertaker-like marabou stalks snapping up all the small creatures fleeing the flames. But just below the soot and ash, new life is about to explode. The green flush of grass brings herds of herbivores to take advantage of the sweet new shoots, and in turn they are followed closely by the predators. The zebras were the first to arrive in numbers, and the Sausage Tree Pride was waiting for them. Using limited cover and the protection of darkness, the Sausage Tree Pride set a trap. The infrared shows the eyes of the perfect ambush. Kinky Tail made the initial chase, but there was little hope for the zebra. The lions began to feast before their prey had drawn its last breath. And in less than half an hour, nothing remained but sinew and bone. A time of plenty for the sausage tree pride. Now, Kipuli strikes fear into most other male lions in this area, and him courting those two young males as part of his coalition has definitely strengthened his position right here in the central Mara Triangle. And we think we just spotted another lion charging in. He hasn't seen the other lion yet. We're not sure if it's a member of the pride. It could also be another male lion that's possibly coming into this area to try challenge. Hold on. And with the migration moving in, there could be nomadic males all around. There. There's another lion. Is it going to be a fight or is it going to be a reunion? We're about to find out. It looks to be a reunion! It is one of the young boys from the Sausage Tree Pride. Oh, I was quite nervous there for a while. I didn't know what was going to happen next. Let's get a bit closer while they greet each other. Oh, that was really exciting. Now, there's been a lovely little intimate moment, that greeting there between the male lions. Now, hopefully, now that these two are together, they can lead us to the rest of the Sausage Tree Pride.
He's walking towards us now, so we've got a lovely view of him. He's still stalking through the grass and the thickets on the banks of this dry riverbed. Now, you might ask why lions are tawny and leopards are spotted. The answer can be seen right now. He's stuck to the woodlands the whole morning, making sure he doesn't ever completely break cover. And because of the dappled light in these woodlands, that spotted pelage is perfect. Whereas the lions, as you would have seen in the Masai Mara there, are beautifully coloured for the long grasses. Well, this morning hasn't exactly been a roaring success for Hosana, but I'm not sure how seriously he's taking his hunting, and that's probably because he's been eating quite a lot lately.
Prince Hosana has been decimating the duiker population of late. The dry season has turned the waterholes into ideal ambush sites. He's a social fellow, and perhaps his family knows this. They've all dropped round for a meal, at his expense. First came Her Majesty Tandi and Princess Tlalamba. Hosana seemed relatively unconcerned as his sister and tiny niece helped themselves to his dining room table before having a fearless drink in front of him. It's really quite astonishing that Tandi brought her vulnerable cub to feed on Hosana's kill. Unrelated male leopards are the leading cause of cub death. Perhaps Hosana recognizes that she is family. Tlalamba finished her snack and then began nagging her mother to leave. They gave a perfunctory glance to their hospitable brother and uncle before sauntering off into the evening. Next to enjoy Hosana's hospitality was his father, Duke Tingana, and this wasn't to be a friendly encounter. The two leopards spent the whole night snoozing next to each other, but just before dawn, Hosana snuck off to snack in a secret pantry. But Tingana wasn't born yesterday, and it took him all of 3 minutes to track his son down. It then took the wily Duke even less time to assert his authority. And poor old Hosana was left to snack on the falling scraps. Most of these were also stolen from the poor fellow. Eventually, Tingana packed up his takeaway and departed, leaving Hosana to muse on the unfairness of the wild.
Now, we keep referring to him as a social male leopard, of course, and that's because he seems to seek out the company of other leopards, and even us sometimes, which is very unusual for a leopard of any age, except the very small ones, and at 2.5 years old he should be seeking to sort of assert his independence. But he likes to be around his sister, he likes to be around his father. I don't know if that'll last for very long, but that's his sort of characteristic trait. He is the most social leopard I've ever met. Up until now, the cat report has focused on the royal leopards of this part of the Western Kruger, but of course these are not the only cats stalking these woodlands.
In the woodlands of Djuma lives a pride with a taste for buffalo, the Nkuhuma pride. Five powerful lionesses striking terror into predator and prey alike. Teaching their youngsters the techniques for killing this dangerous quarry falls on the adults of the pride. These lands are home to a formidable coalition, the Birmingham Boys. Over the last 3 years, they ensured their bloodline by fathering 6 surviving offspring with the Nkuhuma pride. The males leave most of the parenting to the females of the Nkuhuma pride. The lionesses have done a superb job guiding the young playful furballs to helpful teenagers. Together, they nurture the next generation, expanding the pride and its strength.
Well, our lions are slowly but surely filing straight towards us. There's something about having a pride walking straight at you that is very, very special. And they're going to come right past us. Isn't this just amazing? It is just so spectacular having the whole Nkuhuma pride back and walking around. It really is very special to see all of them. And the last lioness is the injured one, who's the oldest of the pride. She's a little skinnier than the rest and still hobbling a little bit, but her hip is really healed quite well. It just goes to show you how resilient lions can be. I'm pretty sure that they are going to hunt for the remainder of the morning because they're quite hungry at the moment. You can see that their bellies are not massive. The last time they ate was 2 days ago, and for a pride of this size, they really do need to be able to feed and need to be able to find a lot of food.
The Nkuhuma pride returned to Djuma hungry the other night. The 5 lionesses and 6 sub-adults' seemingly random wanderings quickly turned into a hunt. The thermal drone allowed a unique view of the predators stalking and then scattering a herd of wildebeest in the pitch darkness. This hunt was ultimately unsuccessful, but the cats regrouped and hunted further to the south, and found a meal in the dimness before dawn broke.
Now, there's very few things that will get your blood flowing than a pride of lions staring at you from this proximity. It is incredible when you get to spend time with them this close. And they're actually all sitting down right next to us. You can see we're starting to get a bit of that golden light that's coming up now. The sun is just starting to peek up over the horizon, and it's going to bathe these lions in this beautiful early morning light. And it shows you just how amazing their camouflage is in this wintry conditions. They've actually got this gold coat that just matches the grass so well. You can see they've just walked behind us and they're moving now, so this is going to be so cool. Hopefully we're going to go on a bit of a hunting mission with them now.
Hosana is also on a hunting mission, this time a much more ambitious one than he's attempted before. He needs to cover the open ground quickly or be seen by his latest target, a herd of impala thinking about a winter morning drink. It's brightened up a lot here, so I think he may be a little ambitious. Still, it'll be interesting to see how close he gets. He's a good 80 meters or so from the nearest one at the moment, so he'll need to be very patient. As we know, this is not really a trait that young male mammals are known for. It's worth noting again how impressive his camouflage is, the way the spots blend into the leafy shrub, and, if the sun shines at all, his spots will look like leaf shadows. That closest impala has no idea that Hosana's hungry eyes are sizing him up for a venison breakfast. The herd is slowly moving closer, Oh, that wily young ram has spotted the spotted peril lying in ambush. The game is up for our young prince. We'll wait patiently here with this ambitious young male leopard, but for now let's go back to the Mara for something very special. Waffles is about to reveal her secret.
During the time that I have spent with North Clan, I have seen Waffles return to her family and the rest of the clan each and every single night, until one night she didn't. By day 3, I was really starting to worry. By day 6 of Waffles' absence, I realized that there were only one of two options. Either the Queen was dead, or she was hiding a very special secret. On day 8, Waffles finally re-emerged and revealed her special secret to the rest of the world. When Waffles returned to the clan's den site, she was greeted with the usual displays of respect from her clanmates and their cubs. My heart pounding, I followed her through the murky darkness to a hole in the long grass, hiding a very precious secret. A week-old cub, no bigger than half a loaf of bread, still floppy and helpless. Over the next few days, Waffles did not desert her post at its side, except to eat and drink, returning immediately to her tender duty and ducking down below ground to a place invisible to all but those who share her secret. A natal den deliberately chosen by an experienced mother. Her bone-crushing jaws, made gentle by motherhood, she shifted her bundle around, allowing brief glimpses of the tiny, tiny creature. I watched with joy as North Clan's newest addition took its first look at the outside world. Not a single other soul knows that it's here except for us and Waffles and the hyena researchers. A very special secret hidden in the Masai Mara. Now that cub is so tiny that it's spending most of its time sleeping, just like a small baby. It's still very much an open-ended question as to whether or not Waffles will raise this cub successfully to adulthood, if she will survive that duration, and when it does come time for her to move on, who will take her place. Sometimes aging matriarchs even step back from the leadership of the clan before they die and hand it over to another hyena. And we've got absolutely no real way of predicting who that will be. We've got rough ideas, and generally speaking, spotted hyenas are quite nepotistic, so it'll go on, passed on to her family. It's out, it's out. It just came out. Look, look, look. It's there. It popped out. It's starting to explore. It's starting to explore. This is so exciting. Hello, hello. Look at you. Oh, this is incredible. It's 2 weeks old. Its ears are just starting to pop out from its head. I mean, it doesn't get better than this. We've been waiting for this opportunity. We have spent hours at this den, quietly sitting, watching, waiting, and we've only had a few seconds. What you're sharing with me now is the longest we've ever seen this cub. We knew it was there. So precious that she's allowed us this view of her life is so incredibly intimate. None of the other clan members come here. This is for us. Well, she hasn't planned it that way, but we get to benefit from it. All that patience, all that hard work, little glimpses of a hyena cub through the grass, it's all worth it. You'll never see anything like this. Beautiful. All right. Okay, I can take a deep breath. You've seen it. I'm happy.
Now we have Kipuli. After he's met up with that young boy, he looks like he's going to go rest in the shade of this little croton thicket out here in the long grass plains. But Kipuli has been busy over the last little while, and he's been busy with the kinky-tailed female. So they've been mating. That's obviously ended now, but let's go have a look at what they were up to. Lion's mating is a rather drawn-out affair that can last several days, so there's much time for leisure in between. Kinky Tail and her star-crossed lover Kipuli remain in one another's company, isolated from the rest of the pride, day and night. Detecting her raging hormones with the upturn of his lip, Kipuli stays in close attendance of his sweetheart, ready to give her the attention she desires as soon as she gets up. And that gives the sign that she's ready for him. He seems to try out all his best facial expressions, while Kinky Tail merely seems exhausted by the whole romantic charade. A routine roll onto the back, but there will be little respite before the next bout begins. Kipuli pauses with the facial expressions to be more serious with some ritualized neck biting, but only briefly. Time will reveal whether this liaison will produce the fruits of tomorrow.
And so a cat report themed on young life comes to an end. Waffles' little treasure took his or her first tentative steps. The sausages are trying valiantly to generate the next generation, while the Nkuhuma youngsters are poised to graduate to adulthood. Our young leopards are learning that life is sometimes sweet, often unfair. Join us next time for more of the intriguing exploits from Africa's greatest predator characters.